30-minute time limit. Managed by Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, formerly known as the Nightmare, now from parts unknown, the champion. Currently, the North American Mid-South Wrestling Heavyweight title holder. His opponent in this one fall with a 30-minute time limit match, making his return to Houston wrestling, Captain Redneck, weighing in at 283 1/4 pounds from Waxahachie, Texas, Big Dick Murdoch.
So Dickie Murdoch, a veteran of the ring, is certainly a veteran of the Houston ring and all the rings in Texas, and a man who has that style that says, look, come after me and I'll knock your block off. Facing a man who was known as the Nightmare and had enough nightmare characteristics to become the North American champion. They call him now the champion. Don't be found calling him the Nightmare, or you might run into trouble. And that's the champion doing the pounding in this one-fall battle here at the Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, Texas. And as Dickie Murdoch takes a few of those across the nose, his Semper Fidelis blood starts getting a little bit hot, and Dickie is capable of rising from the ignominy of being knocked down on his pants and blasting that mask off of his head. And Tony Olivas, well, Tony was trying to get the action under control. He stood up there, and it was, unfortunately for Dick Murdoch, the moment that he was just about to get started, and he's counting the knots on his head as the champion counts himself lucky that the blow that was aimed for him didn't make it. So Tony Olivas trying to keep the match under control. He hasn't had all the luck in the world tonight, so you can understand his frustration at suddenly finding himself with these two behemoths and not being able to keep them under control. So he's starting early. So Dick Murdoch rises up there, and only to get into trouble again. And as he comes in, Tony Olivas again was unfortunate. And I say unfortunate because he stopped Dick Murdoch for a second time from a wallop that most of these fans thought he should have landed. So Murdoch gets a counseling from Olivas, and he keeps his eye on Eddie Gilbert on the outside of the ring. Gilbert, the manager of the champion. Now remember, the world title, the champion, has been given to him as his name. Masked people have a proclivity for pinning tags on themselves, and in this case his tag is the champion. We're not claiming any other title for him other than the fact that he is now holding the prestigious North American title belt in this Mid-South area. And there goes the champion over the top rope, onto the apron, and onto the floor. And Dick Murdoch stands up there and gets an ovation from these fans for the smooth manner in which he tempted the champion into the territory that permitted that wallop. Now, Eddie Gilbert is claiming that Dick Murdoch should be disqualified. This is a non-title battle, and Gilbert would like to see his man get out of there right now without any more risk of losing his reputation. Big, burly individual, the champion. Those people who know who's under that mask know that he has quite a reputation in his own right. He sometimes wrestles without a mask. But right now, in this masked period of his, he has risen to great heights in being able to annex the North American heavyweight title. So Tony makes it definite, pulls that arm down. It was a self-raised arm, so it had no meaning. He can claim all he wants, but when you're in the ring with Dick Murdoch, you'd better be careful, because when you make a claim, he'll drive a stake into it. Caught the foot, and he has the champion in a tough spot right now as he spins him around and clobbers him with that redneck fist of his. In behind, Dick Murdoch going after the mask. Dick Murdoch trying to jerk that mask up over the head of the champion, and around the ring, racing around the ring, goes Eddie Gilbert. And Gilbert is raising a confusion here, spreading a smoke screen as it was as he races around here, trying to get the attention of Dickie Murdoch. So the champion's ready. He moves into the ring, and Murdoch's ready too. No question about it. Murdoch has his own style. He says, we folks in Waxahachie, he said, we don't care about that smooth kind of wrestling. He said, we just want to do it Texas style. And there are a lot of people who agree with him. He comes from a wrestling family. His father, Frank Murdoch, was a wrestler. His uncle, Paul Murdoch, was better known as Farmer Jones from Waxahachie, a man who started the business of bringing a pig into the ring with him. Flying head scissor, and it shows that Dick Murdoch is capable of those highfalutin tactics too, but he wants that mask, and as he jerks it up over the bearded chin of the champion catches it in his teeth and chomps down on it, making him, giving himself a good solid grip on it so that it can't be pulled any higher. So as the champion moves back into the ring, Dickie's waiting. He is more than waiting. He's ready. Side headlock, and as that fist come around, it goes walloping into the jaw and the nose and the eye of Murdoch. This time it was Murdoch who stopped the blow. This time it's Murdoch who takes advantage of it and starts to jerk that mask around. He's blinded the champion by moving that mask in front of him. That was a Murdoch-type blow, and here we have the blackest part of the mask that the champion wears down over his eyes, and he is having his problems. He's out of the ring. He is, well, he's attacking the first thing that came before him, and it happened to be his manager, Eddie Gilbert. So champion is back where he started. His nose coming out the proper place in the mask. And that means that the eye holes are ready. And he looks a little bit the worse for wear here from the pummeling that he took, mask or no mask. Does a mask protect you? Well, a certain way it could keep you from getting certain cuts over the eye or in certain places, but it isn't total protection for sure. And it doesn't minimize the blows. There comes a chair into the ring. The champion has it. It was Gilbert who threw it. And as the champion is picked up, he is, look at that chair. Murdoch dropped him on the chair in atomic drop fashion, and the masked man hit it like the proverbial ton of bricks. And now as he crawls around on the canvas, Waxahachie Dick is moving in there to try to set him up and to go after him. But great move. Eddie Gilbert threw the chair in the ring. And this time Murdoch put a stop to it. Well, Murdoch that time proved that you can't get away with it all the time. He had something ready. And that mask is about ready to come off. He's pulling up on it, and again, the champion gets in there to sink his teeth into it. Bear down on the mask itself. That's a big, burly individual. That beard of his must feel twice as uncomfortable underneath that mask as it does when it's free. And here he comes racing across, trying to catch Dick Murdoch unprepared, and he may have done it. Now he's trying to set him up by throwing him into the turnbuckle, and it could work. Foot first. He reached out there with that leg of his and threw that toe of that boot into Dick Murdoch. 10 minutes have gone by, and here's the champion. Came off with a two-handed chop. The sledgehammer blow into the midsection, and Dick Murdoch caught it in a bad way. You catch those kind of blows on the top of the head, and you are having your thoughts all scrambled. And here comes the champion again, and he's tackling the job of beating Murdoch by punishing his head, hoping that he's going to be able to confuse him. Now listen to those staunch Murdoch fans. Don't have to be a Murdoch fan to be able to do it. Some of these fans know Murdoch and some don't, but they all have heard of him, and they're willing to join in any crusade that'll get him up off that canvas and put him into the unenviable spot of having to beat the champion. So the champ is ready. He comes in to drive that knee in there. He's top man. There's one, and Murdoch did a quick turn and rolled out from underneath. Reverse chinlock, and the champ stays right tight in there and pulls away at the head of Dick Murdoch. Murdoch underneath. Those arms moving. The fans almost caught the rhythm of it. He's looking around for something to grab. Nope. That set of knuckles that up against his jaw. Painful way of impressing him, I'll tell you that. Now, Murdoch was looking for an opportunity to throw that fist of his into the midsection of the champion, but it didn't quite work out that way. Murdoch is caught. Reverse chinlock is the hold. Big man applying it. That means he's able to put weight in there. Able to push from behind on the head. Able to pull in with that big, solid arm of his. And it's an uncomfortably difficult position to find yourself in at any stage of a match. So Murdoch moving around, trying to get into a defensive position. trying to make it more difficult for the champion to apply that hold. And now snatched him back and sets him down. We've got a great crowd, a tremendous crowd here at the Sam Houston Coliseum tonight. And they are seeing some of the action for which the Coliseum is famous, as the home of wrestling in Texas and the home of Houston wrestling in particular. And here comes the champion. He got him in the jaw. He didn't go for the midsection. He decided that if he was going to get a wallop at all, he'd get him right smack in the jaw. So Murdoch stands up to the champion. He's got him hooked in the nose part of the mask. And you see him now controlling him as though he had a ring in his nose. And Murdoch measuring him. He measured him perfectly. As Murdoch now, might have caught a thumb in the eye that time, and close or right on the target. It's a tough thing to take. A quick swing, and he reverses it, and down goes Tony Olivas. And on the outside, it's Eddie Gilbert who tripped Murdoch, but that left him open for the blow from the rear, and here is Gilbert. And Gilbert missed and hit his man with that stick, and now we've got the stick going in all directions, and there's the referee. He just got back in the ring, and there's one, there's two, there's three, and Dick Murdoch has made his return to Houston wrestling successful. Dick Murdoch of Waxahachie teaches the masked champion a lesson, and now he's about to teach the manager a lesson. That's Dick. They played the Marine hymn when he came into the ring tonight. They ought to play it now when he's going out. A great win for him. But this is a non-title match. A non-title match, and Murdoch is a proud winner of a non.
This match, one fall or a 20-minute time limit. To my right, in the blue corner, weighing in at 320 pounds, from parts unknown, the Barbarian. His partner, weighing in at 253 pounds, from Atlanta, Georgia, Jake the Snake Roberts. Their opponent, weighing in at 227 pounds, from Buffalo, New York, Mark Reagan. His partner, weighing in at 223 pounds, from Miami Beach, Florida, Brickhouse Brown.
So tag team action, and it should be at its best. Jake the Snake Roberts and his strange partner, the Barbarian, are a tough team to face. And as referee Tony Olivas will tell you, it's a tough match to referee. But with Mark Reagan and Brickhouse Brown, they're going to be up against elusive, speedy, and greatly offensive wrestlers. They can go on the offensive, and they won't take backward steps, no matter what the size of their opponent. And in this particular match, you are going to see Mark Reagan live up to some of the great things that were said about him by his mentor, the Destroyer. Yes, the sensational and intelligent destroyer who was well qualified to have a protege. So Mark Reagan stays in, and so does Jake, the well-known Snake. And the action now goes with Jake doing the arm twist, but he doesn't hold it for long. And here I mentioned about the fast moves that could be made by Mark Reagan and his partner, and he started to prove it then. He's got to avoid having the full weight of the opposition on. Oh! He threw him and threw him hard, but he's got to hit him. And the great moves, the high drop kick, just like that one. That is a feather in the arsenal of Mr. Mark Reagan. Jake Roberts bounces up to his feet after bouncing down on his nether end, and he was a little bit stung by that, and I don't necessarily mean physically. He looked foolish, and Reagan made him look foolish, so he's going to try to get even for it. You can bet your boots on that. Jake the Snake looking for a place to bounce Mark Reagan. And here are two of the biggest people taking on a man who is a stone's throw from the junior heavyweight class, but is wrestling in the heavyweight ranks because he wants to grow in ability and in size, and certainly in the estimation of the fans. So the Barbarian bounced Mark Reagan across that ring, and he looks pleased with himself as he moves. Beautiful move, an arm throw that was first class, and the timing superb as Mark Reagan sticks in there and then gets his partner. Brickhouse Brown, he came down on him like a brick house that time. Twisting arm lock, and Brown looking for his tender spot as he curls that arm so that the tricep is up in the air. Oh! I'll tell you, he put his feet to good use that time. He tripped him beautifully, and I expected to see two pieces of him standing up there. He looked like he was going to split in half. So the Barbarian, a man who looks strange but looks powerful. He is strange and he is powerful, but he's a hard man to handle in that ring, a hard man. The muscles of Brickhouse Brown were gained the hard way. He is an avid weightlifter. He is a man who wrestles for hours in the gymnasium before he is ready for any match. He's first rate, Brickhouse Brown. Nice move by Brickhouse, but he was clotheslined. That giant of a man stuck that arm of his out there and caught him coming in, put an end to anything I was going to say, and certainly anything the crowd was hoping he might be able to do. So Jake the Snake comes in, and he starts now to measure that big fist of his for the face of Brickhouse Brown. You see him, he's able to find it, he smashes away those last two blows right on the nose. And he is trying to set Brickhouse Brown up for this. And Brickhouse Brown just moved right out of our picture, and he is discombobulating our cameraman. He's moving with such great speed. And there goes Jake. The Snake is out of the ring and on the concrete. And his partner makes sure that he gets back in that ring before the count of 20. He literally lifted him up and threw him in the ring just to make sure that Jake wasn't going to be spending the whole count of 20 on the floor. It was a bad fall he took as he went through the ropes and down onto the concrete. But Brickhouse Brown is more than ready. Twisting arm lock. You see him now as he twists his feet in there, and he's got one leg one foot stuck in where it will give him plenty of support and leverage, and the other one where it will hold that arm tight, and as he falls down, he lifts that leg, and Jake's in trouble. But you've got to have that hold solidly applied. He's got a hammerlock and half Nelson, and as he rolls him over, he gets those shoulders down close. There's one. That's what the one count was, all he was able to get out of that, but then Jake is a big man. The hammerlock's a good hold. It needs a little more body weight in there in order to be able to hang on to it. And Jake comes in with his fist at the ready, and Mark Reagan just puts the pressure underneath the elbow, and nice nimble work. He fell with a sprawl. His body was spread out in all directions. Wasn't able to catch any of the shock of the contact with the canvas and that hard ring. And Jake is confident now. He thinks he has knocked all the fight out of Mark Reagan, and it ain't necessarily so. So Jake looks at Brickhouse Brown, and the first thing you know, Brickhouse Brown took after him. He was offered a chance to pop him in the jaw, but watch out for the snake. He's trying to give his partner an opportunity to sneak in that ring and to do something about it. There's the touch. And the Barbarian is the man who belongs in that ring legally. And Mark Reagan is being set up by these two giants in order to whittle him down just a little bit more away from their size. Reagan set up on the top turnbuckle, and the referee tolling a count there, but whether he can hear him, I don't know. There's the slam that follows it, and the Barbarian, who doesn't listen much anyway, reaches in for an armful of head and a handful of hair. So here he comes through the air and down. Ooh, that's a guillotine drop. That leg comes down there and literally tends to take your head off at the shoulder. And the Barbarian looks a little disappointed that Reagan hasn't been able to get up. There's two. He got up. He at least got up off the mat with both shoulders and was able to roll over. And there goes a driving knee lift into Mark Reagan's face. And now the Barbarian has known one thing, and that is to keep after his opponent. And with his size and his aggressiveness, he becomes even more difficult to handle. And here in the Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, Texas, these fans are rooting for Mark Reagan, trying to inspire him to become a giant killer. And he's got another giant, the fresh giant, who has been standing on the apron and rooting his partner home so that he was absorbing some rest time at the same time. So with almost contempt, he tells Mark Reagan to get up on his feet and then kicks him down again. And Jake brags to the fans over his accomplishment. But you see what he accomplished. He moved him over into the corner where the big Barbarian was waiting for him. And that fist came out there and clobbered him. Whoa! That was Brickhouse Brown. And Brown, you can see why Jake the Snake was doing that. He was keeping the referee occupied, and he was keeping Brown occupied, while his partner was literally chopping Mark Reagan's head off. So Reagan trying to pull himself up. He's got a lot of guts. And there comes Brickhouse Brown, and he hit him like a ton of bricks. And Jake the Snake is going to have to be watching over his shoulder if he's going to be trying that kind of stuff again. Good blow, good. That long roundhouse swing of Jake the Snake's is devastating, but when you get the way you can stop it, it's magnificent, the opening that it'll give you. There's the touch. And Jake is trying to stop his Brickhouse Brown. Jake was trying to get over there to stop him from coming into the ring. 10 minutes have gone by as the Brickhouse goes after the Barbarian with both fists and both feet. And Mark Reagan now is taking his lumps from Jake the Snake as Brickhouse Brown tries to get up on that rope. He does. He throws himself over, but he couldn't budge the big Barbarian. He could not knock the Barbarian over. And Barbarian caught him, whirled, and slammed him. So Brown is in trouble. So Jake takes the front headlock. Oh, man, that DDT drop of his just dropped Brickhouse Brown on his head. I think that's one of the most dangerous holds that I have ever seen. There it is. It is a fall for Jake the Snake Roberts. So Jake the Snake Roberts and the Barbarian take it. And it was a lot of action.
To my right, in the blue corner, weighing in at 235 pounds, from Oil Drop, Texas, Dirty Dutch Mantell. To my left, making his return to Houston Wrestling, weighing in at 261 pounds, from Kansas City, Missouri, Hacksaw Butch Reed.
So this, then, is the return to action of Hacksaw Butch Reed after a couple of months away in which he has distinguished himself throughout the Midwest and has returned to Houston, where fans have missed him. Let's put it that way. A lot of inquiries always about Hacksaw Butch Reed and when is he returning. He's back, and here he is ready to face Dutch Mantell. Dutch Mantell, he of the huge horsewhip, and the bell has sounded now to give us a look at Hacksaw Butch Reed as he moves in toward an opponent who knows his wrestling and doesn't hesitate to apply it, but he also knows how to apply the extra things that can get a man in all kinds of trouble out in that ring. He is a man who never hesitates to find an opening and then to make use of it. So Mantell catches a ribbing from the audience on one side, and Mantell is trying to show his muscles against a man who has more muscle than Mantell could ever possibly use. Mantell has a solid wrestler's body, and Hacksaw Butch Reed has that touch of weight training that always gives the muscles definition, always gives added power, and Reed is ready. And you know, if you want to know whether Reed is ready, just watch Mantell. He's not rushing in there. He was trying to cool off that opening edge, trying to confuse him. And there's the power of Hacksaw Butch Reed. There's the man who can get on that bench press and press 400, 450, 500, go over 500, depending on how he feels that day. He's a man with a great deal of power. Dutch Mantell. Mantell, of course, is the classic wrestler when he sticks to it, who says you don't need all that muscle. You can do a job on a man without it. But he recognizes the power now of Butch Reed, and you see him trying to, again, throw up that smoke screen, again, keep Reed from putting forth with 100% effort constantly by changing the pace of the match. Side headlock for the Dutchman. Finding the nose of Butch Reed, getting after him to lay the knuckles in there and to keep the referee on the blind side. That's Mantell. He come off with a shoulder butt on a man who should know what to do with it. Whoa. Right under the whiskers, if you'll pardon me for coining a phrase, but as he went under those whiskers, he found solidly the chin of Dutch Mantell. So there's Reed, and now with Mantell in the picture, you see a man who is worried about the next move that he's going to make. That last one didn't work out so well. Reverse armbar, nicely done. That's a big arm. And it's one thing to get the hold, another thing to extract the maximum punishment out of it, and it's a third thing to be able to hold it. He let go, and believe me, it was the better part of valor that he recognized the fact that he would have had his block knocked off if he hadn't. So Reed stands there and tells the referee that he's got something in his trunks. And the referee looks at the garment. In the case of Dutch Mantell, Mantell wears a pair of trunks underneath that outside garment. It's always better to be safe. So as they come together, they clash in that referee's hold, and it's Reed against the ropes, and Reed making the move. Look at that Dutchman. He got out of the ring so fast, his head got ahead of his feet. He started out with his feet, and the whole body went sliding across there and out. And I don't blame him. Reed is a formidable foe. 5 minutes have gone by. And arm drag, and he bounced him to the deck. So Mantell is a master at throwing up the smoke screens, a master at keeping the referee busy doing everything except watching exactly what he's doing. He ripped across the face of Butch Reed that time with that bandage on his right hand. And again, he used that same rough and rugged adhesive bandage to rip across the face. Reed down, and Mantell trying to make sure he stays there by getting in behind him. The crowd now starts their staccato clapping. They're trying to root the Hacksaw home. Plus, with Hacksaw Butch Reed in the Mid-South area again, that means we've got two Hacksaws. We've got Jim Duggan and Reed. Now you'll note that Mantell has gone after Butch Reed's arms. There are a lot of wrestlers who would disagree with him, and because they know that the strongest part of Butch Reed are those powerful arms of his. And what you should be doing is looking for the weakest part of the opponent instead of the strongest. Mantell knows it, but sometimes you get too proud to look around for the weak ones, and you want to show the fans that you can beat a guy by going after his strong points. It's usually when you lose a match. So Reed fights to try to jerk that arm out. There's the pull down. And Reed from that kneeling position as he battles back against the varied attack. And now you see what he's doing. Now he's going after the knee. And he's going after a knee that is wearing a support, an orthopedic support, and slamming it down against the sharp edge of that. And it is a sharp edge, I'll tell you. Not a cutting edge, but most certainly not a rounded one. And as your leg hits, you're in trouble. Mantell, a workman in that ring, a man who knows his way around. He's not going to be pushed around by anyone without putting up a fight. And now as he gets Hacksaw Butch Reed in the legs, and he starts to work on his head. So he's going from one end to the other, and that leaves only the middle. Crotch hold, the lift, the slam, and here is Mantell with that elbow. He's on top. We could have a fall. There's one, there's two, but you don't pin Hacksaw Reed without a maximum of effort. Oh, how he hit. Oh. Now there is an opportunity for Butch Reed. As Butch rises, he is ready. He was ready there with his foot. He was ready with his fist. And now as he moves in on Mantell, he is determined. And this time it was a bad move by Butch Reed. He followed in too closely behind Mantell. Mantell got out of the way and he hit into the turnbuckle with the shoulder. This could be a bad spot for Reed. And Reed is trying to shake it off. And as he shakes it off, he starts to swing around and lay it in there. Well, we've got Mantell hung in the ropes. And remember, those ropes are tight. They are steel cables covered with rubber, and they don't give. Swing, and he found his mark and came in there solidly. 10 minutes have gone by. Oh, referee Tony Olivas was trying to move past there, and now we've got Dutch Mantell. Mantell's going in there for his whip, and that whip handle is a solid hunk of wood. Mantell may have won a match in just that fashion. No, Butch Reed's got out, and we mentioned the power of his arms. We mentioned the hours he puts in the gymnasium with those huge weights. It just paid off. There's no easy way to get any place. And Butch Reed got there where he is, the hard way. Drop kick. And now as he goes after Mantell, Mantell puts a stop to it and tries to set him up. Clothesline, and oh, a beauty. So the lift, he's gonna lift him over his head. He does, and crashes him. There's the count. There it is. Hacksaw Butch Reed takes a win over Dutch Mantell, and this crowd in the Sam Houston Coliseum, the home of Houston wrestling, the home of wrestling in Houston, gives him an ovation.
The special referee for this evening's cage bout for the Mid-South Tag Team titles with no DQ, Alberto Madril. Currently in the ring, weighing in at 277 pounds from Oklahoma University, the Mid-South Tag Team title holders, weighing in at 272 pounds, from Omaha, Nebraska, Ted DiBiase.
Ted DiBiase and Dr. Death await the arrival of their opposition.
Challengers in this no disqualification match, weighing in at a combined weight of over 432 pounds, Héctor Pistolas and Chavo Guerrero.
And the fifth man in the ring is Alberto Madril, former world's junior heavyweight champion, a man who won the NWA World Heavyweight Championship here in the Houston ring, right here in the Sam Houston Coliseum, a few years ago when he defeated Nelson Royal. Shortly after that, Madril was taken down by a malady and was forced to relinquish the title. But right now, we've got Texas Tornado going. We've got all four men in the ring at the same time. And Madril faced with the job of trying to get some sense of order as up above me comes Chavo Guerrero, and the blonde hair is Héctor Guerrero. And Héctor is now playing in a movie in Hollywood, and that's the reason for his blonde hair. But that's not the reason for that bump on the head of Ted DiBiase. Now as Chavo Guerrero pursues him, you see him going after Ted DiBiase and trying to double him up in the middle with punishment around the midsection. And Chavo flying mare, and we've got a skid right down the sides of his face that must have started right at the nose, and a back bottom drop, and Chavo Guerrero places Ted DiBiase in position for a real bit of punishment. Now the match has settled down to a tag team event, which it was scheduled to be in the first place. The Mid-South Tag Team title is at stake in this, and the champions, DiBiase and Dr. Death, are looking for the opportunity now to hang on to that coveted title and the belts that symbolize it. Ted DiBiase tried to get out on the floor of the ring. This fence around the ring is simple but sturdy, and he was stopped cold in his tracks. So DiBiase backs up to Steve Williams, and then comes out of the corner and comes to face Chavo Guerrero. Up on the top turnbuckle is Héctor Guerrero. He's standing up there watching his brother go to work, and now his brother's on the receiving end. Here is a quick switch, and DiBiase backdropped and backdropped. Well, a hard landing. So DiBiase doesn't like the idea of being hemmed in. Claustrophobia setting in. And here comes Héctor Guerrero setting in. With a quick wrap up here, he takes a fast roll to wrap him up and try to tie him up completely. And this time DiBiase has worked it well. He has maneuvered around and trapped Héctor Guerrero into that corner and left him where Dr. Death could get after him and work him over. Dr. Death, former Oklahoma All-American in football and in wrestling, and this time he was hit with a Mexican clothes hanger, and it was a beauty. In behind, Héctor Guerrero, and off of the buckle comes brother Chavo. He gets over, he wraps him up. There's one, there's two. Referee Al Madril, who is a special referee for this battle, comes down there with a 2 count, but not a 3 count. The driving knee of Chavo Guerrero, and now the double punishment of Chavo and Héctor, setting him up on all sides here as the action goes, and there's a race across that ring to get up there and lay that knee into him. Man down, Dr. Death. He's trying to get over to tag Ted DiBiase. It didn't work, and now is this great Coliseum crowd, and it is a huge crowd. Roars their approval. Héctor Guerrero went through the air and spun around in the air and come down on top of Steve Williams. There's a touch. In comes Chavo. Oh, how that can pierce you, I'll tell you. When you stiffen those knees and come down, it's like being hit with that many pounds of rock falling. So Chavo goes to work, and so does Steve Williams. He literally raced Chavo over into the hands of Ted DiBiase and got him into a spot where they could both go to work on him. DiBiase now, properly touched, comes in to take on Chavo and up into the steel fence, and it is an immovable object, believe me. 5 minutes have gone by as DiBiase, who is one of the most dangerous individuals in the wrestling game today and is proud of that Mid-South Tag Team title, carefully manages to wallop Chavo Guerrero. Guerrero's head was cut open in the contact with the steel fence, and DiBiase is working him over to make sure that he gets maximum punishment out of it. Dr. Death aiming and going, and he comes down to land hard on top of the head of Chavo Guerrero. Trouble now is Chavo bleeding badly, and Dr. Death working him over. Tries to coax him up where he can get after him. Chavo's a little dazed. He moves to the wrong corner, and no doubt about the fact that Steve was willing to help him along. In comes Ted DiBiase after a legal tag, and DiBiase senses that things are just right. You saw him with that gloved hand of his, and that gloved hand of his has been a bone of contention, and I say bone, for when there is something that he manages to put into that gloved hand and to lay his opponents down on that canvas after he hits him. A wild wallop to the top of the head with the gloved hand, and down on the canvas comes Chavo Guerrero, and Ted DiBiase with a great deal of satisfaction tells these people to look and see what he's doing to a man who has become his arch rival in the mat wars here in the Mid-South area. And here in Houston Wrestling in the Sam Houston Coliseum, they have had a couple of matches that have been absolutely barn burners, as some people would call them, but the barn is still there and the action is still there, and now Guerrero is taking an unconscionable amount of punishment as he manages to squirm out from Steve Williams. Now as he blasts Dr. Death, he manages to get up to his feet, but he's in the wrong area, and he backed into the corner, not knowing where he was. Dr. Death tries to set Chavo Guerrero up. There he comes in for the cradle hold and rocks him right down, rolls him over, and before Chavo can get to the corner, and he again, with the blood running in his eyes, he's having his problem. He went into the wrong corner, but that foot and that slicing chop that came around there, they were in the right spot, and they have gained an opportunity for him to stay in there and to battle. DiBiase maneuvering after him. There's the sleep hold as he caught him first in the clothesline, and Chavo rammed his head into the turnbuckle, and Ted DiBiase's in trouble. And for the first time now, there is the ability for Chavo to get to his brother and let him get in that ring. He lost the opportunity. He went to the wrong corner. He sensed it and walked away from it, but he walked into Ted DiBiase. And you don't just walk into Ted DiBiase. There's Héctor. And now the brotherly spirit comes in there to start to cheer him on. And he manages to ram their heads together. Referee trying to get rid of him. Now we've got all four of them in the ring as things start flying all around. And Steve Williams is out of the ring, down on the floor, and under the ring. Now he comes out of the ring, but he has spread this fence about 3 feet away from the ring. It is not coming apart, but it is pushed back from the ring, and he's starting to climb in. As up in the ring, Héctor Guerrero is trying his best to pin DiBiase, but in the meantime, Chavo Guerrero has taken the glove from DiBiase. He has taken the glove for him, and he is preparing him. Oh! He turned and blasted him. And listen to the uproar of this crowd as Chavo Guerrero stands there with Ted DiBiase's glove and now slams into Steve Williams, and down goes Ted DiBiase. So now with the armor and the weapon of the opposition, Chavo Guerrero is making the most of it. And three of the four men in there are bleeding right now from wallops, and the blood is running down the nose of Steve Williams and running into the eyes of DiBiase, who has been knocked through the ropes and onto the ring apron as referee Al Madril is arguing. He's arguing with Chavo Guerrero about taking off that glove, and is taking it off for sure and putting it into his pocket. Alberto Madril, veteran wrestler for sure. There is a back body drop, a high lift, and a good one. There's one. There's one again, and the foot of Ted DiBiase goes over the rope. Steve Williams comes up on the opposite side. DiBiase is pulling himself up to his feet, and the hard crashing wallop into the jaw, and with Chavo being down, Alberto Madril has taken the glove out of his pocket, and he has put it on his hand, and Alberto just laid Alberto Madril took the glove out of his hand, out of his pocket, put it in his hand, and laid it into the jaw of both Chavo and Héctor Guerrero. And we have a tremendous, he's got me at a loss for words. But the Mid-South Tag Team Champions are leaving the ring, and down on the canvas are Chavo Guerrero and Héctor Guerrero. And what a stunning surprise, and what a stunning upset. I haven't seen Al Madril in several years, but surely he's not the Al Madril that I once knew.